Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angeline Constantino, and welcome to this week's brand new podcast episode. So, please like and subscribe to my podcast, Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. We are live on my YouTube channel right now, and please go to Spotify for podcasters, Spotify, Apple, Google, and all the live streams, as this podcast episode will be uploaded tomorrow. We launch podcast episodes every Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. And like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today, I have an incredible friend, special guest. We are going to be talking to Nadia, founder, CEO, and holistic empowerment coach of the Brave Zone community. And we're going to be talking about learning how she kicked codependency through self-love. Okay. So with expertise in hypnotherapy and mindfulness, Nadia helps people shed childhood trauma, inducing limiting beliefs. Drawing from both professional knowledge and personal experience, she empowers individuals to break free from abusive relationships, dead-end situations, and step boldly into a life they love. So without further ado, there she is, the queen, the self-love diva.
Hello, queen. Well, it's funny because I take what I can get. On TikTok, I'm Diva, self-love diva, and on some other platform, I'm self-love warrior.
Oh.
Diva wasn't available, so people are like, "Oh, you've graduated into a warrior or a queen."
Yes, you have. I just graduated you into a queen. Yeah. I'm so happy to have you on my show. So what is the time right now where you are?
2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, and didn't you just attend a Cyndi Lauper concert?
Oh, yes.
Oh. Girls just want to have fun, and that's what we're here for. You know, we're here to break the silence, and we're here to help women amplify their voices so they can step into their true power and live their happiest lives ever. So this topic that we are going to be talking about today is so important. And the work you do, Nadia, is so needed today because, you know, and what I wanted to ask you, where were you before? Because I know you wanted to share your story with my audience today. So who is Nadia?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me here, by the way.
Welcome.
This is beautiful. And we always have nice, great chances to chit chat. So I'm excited. So where do we start? I feel like, you know, when I'm at an interview and they say, tell me about yourself. Okay, where do I start? Well, I guess I'll start with the topic. Codependency. I was codependent all of my life, Angeline, all of my life. And when we're codependent, ever since we're children, it plays out for our entire life. That's what happened to me. And so how it showed up was I was that overthinker, you know, like I wanted everyone's acceptance, approval, validation. I had anxiety as a child. I would go to school with stomach aches every day. Then when I started getting older, I started getting bullied at school. At home, it wasn't like a safe, comfortable, loving place. At school, it wasn't either. And nothing changed. As I grew older, then I got married and I didn't have a safe space in my relationship or in my job. And so one day I was like, what is literally happening here? I was in my mid to late 30s. I was like, what is going on here? And this was about 12 years ago. Don't do the math. But I was like, what is happening here? And so what I did was, because I was so codependent and I didn't have that sense of belonging since I was a kid, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yes. Oh, my goodness. I've studied that.
Yeah. So belonging is right there on the top, right? Or is it the bottom?
I know. It's been a while since I looked at it.
It's just one of the priorities, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So belonging is really important. And it was very important to me, but because I never had it, guess what? Then I was codependent, looking for that sense of belonging from other people, because I didn't have like a close and connected family where I felt loved and cared for and wanted. I literally felt like I wanted other people to adopt me into their families. And then they would be like inviting me to places. And then like, I'm not their family. I'm not their blood. So then it kind of like fizzled off. And I always felt this sense of rejection. But anyways, back to the relationship thing, because I think that's really common, right? I was controlled, manipulated, gaslit, intimidated all of my life for 15 years.
Wow.
And people would see us together, and his true colors only came out in front of some people. And they were like, what is wrong with you? Like, I literally lost my self-respect and my dignity being in this connection. But because I was so codependent, I stayed. I tried to smooth things over. I tried to communicate better. I tried to get curious about what I could do better as a spouse so we would have more peace in the house. I was determined that I was not going to get a divorce and I was going to give my kids a really good life. I was determined. And so that's why I stayed for so long. And it's not like it started later and we had a few good years. It started right away.
So it started right away. Yeah.
Control, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the intimidation, the guilt tripping, all of it. Like it started right away for me.
And when was that pivoting moment when you made that decision to just surrender, take ownership?
Oh, yeah. That was a beautiful moment. I always tell people when something bad happens, it's actually something good. I reached my rock bottom in like 2009, and the harassment, I would say, of all things, control, manipulation, gaslighting, intimidation, all of the psychological abuse tactics, harassment was the worst. I would be in the kitchen cooking, and he would come in and bug me and be in my face. If I was doing yoga or meditation or reading or talking to a friend or going out for a coffee, like no matter what I did, Angeline, he was right there bothering me, harassing me. He wanted my attention all the time, like in a way that I couldn't handle it. And, some of my friends used to say, we used to talk about our marriages, and they used to say stuff like, my husband stopped talking to me. So they were upset. So that's another form of codependency, right? But I never experienced that. Like, yes, when I wanted to talk about an issue, he would shut down and not talk about it or go off on different tangents. But I would say to my friends, that's a good problem to have. Right? Like,
right. Yeah.
When you're harassed and they're in your face all the time, you want peace. Peace is priceless. Even if nobody's talking to me, hey, peace is peace. Yeah. So our situations were different. So my moment in 2009 was like, oh my God, like it's a trigger warning. Well, I guess a lot of your podcasts are triggers.
Yeah. But triggers are our teachers, aren't they?
Yeah, because your podcast is all about this. So this ain't for the faint-hearted. If you're listening to Break the Silence, you better know that there is a trigger warning.
Yes, there is. I love it. Right? No, there is. Seriously, there are triggers. Yeah. There are trigger warnings, and triggers are our teachers. No, I mean, listen, to this day, I still get triggered a little bit, like once in a while.
The trigger warning, like in terms of talking about the severity of my situation where I couldn't handle the harassment anymore. Wow. It was killing me. Angeline, I was like, in that moment, I was like, what am I doing here? I'm no good for my kids. Why am I on this earth? I can't go to my family. They're not there for me. I don't have anybody to help me. And I'm a single mom. My kids are better off without me. And so something happened. It was like the shit hit the fan. I finally, like, I was sick and tired of it, and I didn't know how to stop it. I tried my best and nothing was working. So I took some pills.
Ooh.
And I ended up in the hospital.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I was in the back of the with the paramedics, and I thought I was going to get compassion when he asked me what happened. And I said, it's my situation. And he said, well, get out of your situation. Angeline, in that moment, I was like, that was an aha moment for me. It was like, nobody's coming to save me. Like, nobody's coming to save me. And
right, there you go.
right. And it's that moment that I took my power back, because I was like, nobody literally cares. Nobody's coming to save me. I got to save me. I have to be the one to save myself, because nobody can do it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. And I want whoever's watching here to know that, like, I come across it all the time where people say, when I take my power back, like when I say, I took a hard look at myself after that. The way I took my power back was I told myself, I literally created this situation because I tolerated it. What's wrong with me? I can point my finger at him all I want, but
there
what was my part in it? Why did I stay? There was something in me. So what I decided to do was I decided to take my power back by taking accountability and responsibility. There was no more snowflake, victim, blaming the victim. I don't care. Blame the victim. If you're the problem, you're the solution, right?
That's right. That's right.
It's like Taylor Swift's song, Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I love being the problem because then I'm the solution, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So then I didn't leave my marriage because I was mad. I mean, leaving your marriage when you're mad, unless, of course, it's a huge safety concern, I don't recommend it, because then you're not clear. You haven't done the work on yourself and you can attract it again. You can't just leave the person that is doing this to you. You have to divorce the person that you were that tolerated it.
I love that.
Yeah. So you're not divorcing them. You're also divorcing the part of you that put up with that.
And how does one do that? Because so many, like, I especially see it in women, they choose to sit in that filth.
Yeah.
That's not very good. And that's very disempowering.
Yeah. And so I did that for 15 years. I sat in the filth and I was like, just upset. I was the victim. I didn't know what to do. I tried my best. I tried so many things. Nothing worked. But you know what I realized? Literally, okay, so I've been divorced for 10, 11 years now. And I had an epiphany even recently about this. And I realized recently that the reason that it never worked out is because I tried so hard, but he didn't have the same goal as me. And I didn't even know that. I just realized that recently, that his goal wasn't the same as mine. He wasn't trying to make it better. Because I always used to say to him, fix it or forget it. Like, why are we here? You don't want to divorce me, but you don't want to make it better. Like, what do you want? It wasn't, right. He did not have the same goal. So I want people to know, if they are trying to work out their relationship, then make sure that your partner has the same goal. Maybe your goal is to make things better and give your children a good life. Maybe their goal is to gain power through putting you down. That's a goal. That's literally a subconscious goal. And they don't even know what they're doing. Yeah. So you asked me, how did I do that? Right. So for 4 years, I stayed for 4 more years while I worked on me.
There you go.
I did that through, first I had to love myself enough, just enough. I didn't love myself a lot, just enough to allow myself to do some work on me. Right?
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah. So when I got to that place of, wow, nobody's coming to save me, I need to save myself. I need to love myself enough to do that. Then I started to become aware. I did self-discovery work, self-awareness work on me. Who am I? What do I want? Why am I doing this? Why am I tolerating this? What are my blocks? What happened to me in my past that it is impacting me now? And like, why would I stay? Why would I tolerate this? What are the mistakes that I'm making so that I'm perpetuating this problem? Because the truth is we have more power than we think. Right?
I agree with you. We're stronger. I always say, you're stronger than you think you are. You are strong. You are strong.
Yeah.
We are strong women. And I know for me, see, you and I have similar stories because I stayed in my marriage another 3 years to work on myself before I escaped, before I left, because I had to do the inner work. That inner work is so important. And you rose up. I mean, you rose up to the occasion. Doesn't matter. I mean, I was married for 23 years. I mean, in your case, it was 15 then, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15.
And so life is a mirror reflecting back at us what's happening in our inner world. So if this kind of abuse is reflecting back at me, then I have to ask myself, what am I doing? It's like when you have a mirror and there's like some dirt on your face and you're cleaning off the mirror. Like, stop looking at the other person and start to look at yourself. When you change, your life changes.
That's it. That's it.
Right? And so I started doing a lot of self-awareness work and a lot of self-love work. But I also sealed the deal with taking action. I'll give you an example. So part of my journey to self-discovery, I ended up in a meditation center. I started doing 2 things for myself when I got released from the psych ward after a few weeks. So basically what happened was I just blanked out. See how the subconscious does? It's like, whoa. Okay. So I got out and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to do personal development, professional development, and I'm just going to get out of the house and do something for myself, right? Because I needed mental health, right? And I needed to just discover myself more. So one of the places I ended up was Toastmasters, which is a worldwide public speaking organization. And then another thing, and that was to improve my public speaking skills, not because I was working in a job where I had to do that. It was more about, I wanted to get over my panic attacks and just feeling disempowered and phobic of public speaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because once, like when I first got my job at the school board, like years ago in my early 20s, I was asked at parents' night in the beginning of the school year to stand up and introduce myself to the community, to the parents and the rest of the staff and all that. Students were there. And I totally got nervous, right? So I was the poster girl for people pleasing, imposter syndrome, codependency, panic attacks, all that stuff. So that was one of the things I had on my list. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to tackle this. I'm going to grow myself as a person. The second place I ended up was a meditation center, like I said. And I took this course for about 10 months. The concepts they were teaching here were interesting, but some of them contradicted the religion I was raised with, which is Islam, right?
Right.
So the whole time I took what I took and I left the rest because I wanted to keep my religion and I only believed in my religion. Fear-based. All of a sudden, not even gradually, all of a sudden one day I had an epiphany. I would think I was in my car and I was like, hold on a second. I was lied to. Everything I was taught, I was lied to. This is actually the reason this is happening to me. And I got my peace because I realized, because one day I was like, why are all these bad things happening to me? I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me? Like everything I ever did, I'm not perfect, but I'm a good person at my core. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what made me question life. Because all I wanted was love, loyalty, support, belonging. And there was one day, so I got better. Obviously, I'm living to tell about it, but I gained my peace. You know that saying, Angeline, you don't have to you don't have to wait for the storm to pass. You just need to learn how to dance in the rain.
Dancing in the rain.
Right? And it's
right, exactly.
Yeah. So like when the shit hits the fan, you don't need to wait for the shit to hit the fan. You just need to find your calm and peace inside.
There you go. There you go.
The shit did hit the fan though, Angeline, because, and I was prepared for it, because now I'm starting to ruffle feathers, because now people are not liking that I'm left my religion.
So what?
Yeah, they didn't think that, wow, like you're so much better. You have your emotional and mental health. All they were thinking about was you're bad because you left the religion. So the moment that I decided to get a divorce, when I made my decision with conviction, I was done. Done like dinner, baby. 2011, I'm in my bedroom with my husband. He's on the phone. You know, the landlines we had that was connected to the cord. He's on the phone with my mother. They're talking shit about me because I left my religion. In that moment, I said, wow, like my mother did it because she's getting older and she's very fanaticky about religion. She's all fear-based and she's projecting that. And yes, she did overstep by talking to my husband about it. But I expected more from him, because I literally left that situation that I was raised with, no love, no loyalty, no support, to go into a relationship so that I would get that, right? I made the biggest decision of my life based on fear, based on avoiding pain, and not my truest authentic desires. It was more about I want out of fear. So I get into this relationship, and they have this love-hate relationship. They don't even like each other, but they'll go against me. So he's talking about me with her, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to change her, but you, hello, I married you, and I thought you would be there for me. And I said to myself, what is wrong with you? The very thing that you wanted is the very thing that you don't have. What are you doing here? Are you stupid? I literally said, like, have you no self-respect? I literally had a good talking to with myself. I gave myself shit, actually.
You gave yourself some self-talk.
Yeah, lots of self-talk. And I gave myself a good talking to, a good lecture. And in that, it was that moment of conviction that I said, no, I'm done. I'm just not doing this anymore. You can talk to her, and they still talk. They like, it's weird. Don't ask. I don't want to know. I love my peace. You know what? When you're just with yourself, you don't have to worry about who does what. I'm not codependent anymore. You know,
that's good.
You want to say what you want to say. You want to do what you want to do. You want to talk to who you want to. Go ahead. You do you. I'm ejecting myself.
Right. Exactly. So as far as the codependency, define codependency for the audience, please.
Yeah. So it's basically when you look to others for your acceptance, approval, validation. This is when we have people that overthink. Oh, this person's not texting me back. Did I piss them off? Will they like me? What if I say this? I can't say no. I got to overextend myself. I have to be agreeable. I can't put my foot down. I can't set boundaries. I used to think that, like, I was never the kind of people pleaser that would lay it on real thick with people and suck up. You know, I was never a suck up. So I never even knew that I was being a people pleaser. I really didn't know. But I was, because say he threatened me or something, like he would get mad at the drop of a hat and call me names. And I didn't believe that you're in a relationship, you're going to have problems, but why are you calling each other names? Right?
Exactly.
So if he would do something like that, and then we'd have to go like to a dinner party or something like that to his friend's house, like all these families got together when our kids were little, and I would get mad, but I would still go. And you see all these pictures of me now. I could show you pictures, girl, where I was at parties or hosting parties or went to all these events. You could see the sadness in my eyes watering. You could see my eyes watering. Yeah. I was very unhappy, but I didn't set a boundary and say, no, I'm not going. I don't want to go. I was scared to set that boundary.
There you go.
A lot of women think they're setting boundaries because they're giving their husband a few choice words about what they think of them, of what they did, but they're not actually, they have to feel the consequence. And I didn't want to do that. I was too scared.
Okay. You were too scared. Right. Right. And that's even for me, like I used to host events too. I had parties at the house and, we would go out, but then like you could tell for me too, sadness in my face, in my eyes. Yeah.
The
Wow.
eyes are the windows to the soul, right?
Oh.
And it was bad even when we would go to like take the kids to their sports, and then later on when I got divorced and I was taking my kids to sports stuff, and I'm like, wow, I'm here by myself and I don't care that I'm divorced. I'm happily divorced. I used to be very ashamed, like, oh, I'm going to be the mom that is there alone without her partner. I was highly embarrassed about that for a long time, and that's one thing that kept me staying, because I was ashamed and I didn't want to. Like, I remember once I wanted to practice, so I took my boys ice skating one night alone, and I did this a lot anyways because he would travel for work, so it's not like I was never out with my boys alone, but in my mind it was like, oh, I'm going out as a divorced woman, but I wasn't yet divorced,
Ah,
right?
right.
So then what I did was, it was like me dipping my toe in the water. And then after, it was a Friday night, after we went ice skating, I took them out to a sit down restaurant and I said table for 3. And I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good about it, Angeline. I wasn't ready. I was still very ashamed. And then I didn't stay for much longer because I said, suck it up, Buttercup.
There you go. There you go.
Why are you ashamed? That's your problem. And then I remember when I really did truly start to set boundaries, where the kind of boundaries where he would feel a consequence. I remember one day we went out for dinner and I had already made up my mind that I was going to start to practice courage, and I would master courage by taking action.
I love that.
That's scary, right?
That's scary.
So one day we were at a restaurant and he would belittle me a lot. So if I were to share my opinion on something, and I would say, oh yeah, I saw that in the news too. Like, he would watch the news, not me. But I was saying, he was sharing something about in the news. And I was like, oh yeah, the meditation center, they see the exact same thing as you're talking about. That's what I said and how I said it. And he looked at my kids. They were 12 and 7 or 8. And he looked at them, not at me. He looked at them and he said, kids, you know what your mother is talking about right now? She's stupid. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's talking stupidity. And I said, excuse me? I said, I'm allowed to have an opinion and to share. And so I said, you know what? I'll be walking home. I didn't want to go into the car with him. And the walk home was about 45 minutes. And my older son, he got out of the van and he said, I'm going to walk with Mama.
Wow.
He was walking with me and he said, now this was a shock, the thing that came out of his mouth. But
And how old was he at the time, your
he
son?
was 12.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said to me, don't worry. One day when you get divorced, you're going to be very happy.
Wow. Oh my God. Ooh.
But he was 12. He's now 23. There was a lot that happened after that where his authentic self, that message came out that day, but it didn't stick for too long, but I felt it came out like it was so genuine, right? But that's listen, when you're codependent, you know this, right? You get it from all angles. Everybody starts to test you. Okay. It could be your kids too, right? So maybe you started out with your mother and your father and your sibling, and then your husband, and then your kids, and then your workplace, and then your people at school and people at work. It's just everything, everybody. And then you start to say, hey, I'm the common denominator. It's me. Why is everybody thinking they can walk all over me and test me? Test my boundaries, right? So it wasn't pretty. Lots happened. I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy. It was not easy peasy, but it felt easy because of my mindset.
There you go. And from that point, when was your divorce final? From that time that your son spoke to you and said that?
So I think I left about a year later. I was separated for a few years and I lived in my own place and lived my own life, but we didn't get legally divorced for 3 years, but for no reason. It was just like, I was in no rush because I knew I wasn't interested in getting married again. Right. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I
Okay.
wasn't pressuring a legal divorce, but then we ended up just getting one 3
You
years
just
later.
end up getting one. Okay. And then what happened right after that?
So when I got divorced and I picked up my legal document from the court, Angeline, I didn't
how did you feel? Oh my gosh.
feel any different. I didn't feel any different because I'm the kind of person that thinks that, like, I was already excited when I got my own place. That was huge for me because the divorce is just paperwork to me. Just like a marriage is paperwork, divorce is paperwork.
That's true.
And so I thought I would feel differently when I picked up the paperwork, but then I'm just like, I've already been living my exciting life. It already started. I already have my own place. Like, life is already great. So it wasn't like I was more excited. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's like for me, the most empowering part was moving into a new place, a new apartment, and you feel like 8 million pounds has been lifted off your shoulders. So how did that make you feel, like when you got your new place? And
Oh, that.
woo.
I was excited. I was at peace. But like a year later, I'd find myself cooking in my cute little kitchen by myself. And then I would start to cry randomly because I would remember how bad it was. And I never knew how bad it was until I left. So in hindsight, I realized how bad it was. And so this is what you probably see this a lot with your clients,
I
Angeline,
do. Yes.
is that they don't see like the trauma they're going through until hindsight, right?
Right, right. No, I get that. And what I wanted to ask you is what are some of the most effective tools or techniques you use to help women break through their subconscious blocks?
Yeah, so we do a lot of the shadow work, the inner child work, the subconscious work, the visualization, the releasing. So we internalize beliefs as children, right? That
Right, there you
lead
go.
that lead to our experiences. So say you were shut down when you shared something authentically as a child. We've all been through our own trauma. Some of us have had immigrant parents where we lived in the hood. We had very, humble beginnings, or maybe our parents were divorced. Maybe there was domestic abuse. And I internalized beliefs as a result of the things that I experienced, disempowering moments, little moments that happened. I created an identity about myself. When I was a kid, I made decisions. We all do it. Before the age of 7, we're operating in slower brainwave states, the theta state, pretty much, where we don't have that conscious filter. So anything that happens, boom, it goes into the subconscious. It gets stored there. And then we act from that mindset and we play out experiences in adulthood that align with those beliefs and that identity that is stored in our subconscious. And that's why it's so powerful. So I developed beliefs. Relationships are not safe. I am not lovable. I don't deserve respect. A lot of things like that. I developed an identity. I am insecure. This is just my life. I can't. I always thought I was the underdog, and I used to think everybody else was better than me in everything, and it was a lot. And if you're vibrating at that frequency, like if you believe those things about yourself, you're going to vibrate at the frequency. It doesn't matter how much you fake it. And then you're going to attract people that are going to exploit that.
There you go. There you go. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on right.
So that's
right.
how we ended up there.
And that's how we end up there. So how can men and women, how can they begin to recognize their own limiting beliefs, and what steps can they take to start overcoming them?
The one thing that I did, and I learned this in the meditation center, was to become aware of our thoughts, right? So the first thing that we need to do is to just live in the now, right here, right now. What are you experiencing? And then when you become aware of how you're feeling in the moment, you're going to be aware of what your thoughts are. And then that self-awareness, because I learned a lot about myself by doing that. I was like, oh, this is how I feel. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I can't do this. I'm thinking if I say this is what's going to happen. I'm thinking that they're going to get mad at me and they're going to judge me if I order the chicken instead of the fish because it's not halal or kosher. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to calm down, calm my nervous system, ask myself if it's worth being inauthentic for. Like when I reached that fork in the road, I was like, should I just pretend because it's going to be too hard to tell them that it's like coming out, like I don't believe in this religion anymore. I'm not part of this identity. There was a lot of pushback, a lot of bullying, a lot of isolation, a lot of like bullying, harassment.
Right.
Spiritual abuse is real.
Boy, it is real. And I feel it's just there more than ever. Why is that?
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of spiritual abuse? Can you give us an example?
Yeah. So God doesn't like that. You're going to go to hell. But a lot of harassment, like when I was reading books, I would take the covers off of my books because he didn't like those metaphysical books, spirituality books. I was searching. It had nothing to do with him. I said, listen, even if I wanted to believe what you believe in, I can't. I'm going through something right now. I went through so much trauma in my life. I need to find my peace. If you actually love me, you'll be okay with letting me read books. Letting me read books? What is that? I'm not hurting anybody. I said, there are as many paths to God as there are people in this world. And I'm going to continue. I remember I said this one time. I said it shaking, but I said this. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing because I'm not hurting anybody. And you're going to just have to decide how bad it's bothering you. And you make your decision accordingly. But I need to do what I need to do for me.
Right. There you go. There you go.
I used to take covers off of books. I used to close the laptop quickly when I was watching YouTube videos that would help me. So, I was searching, like I said. He even followed me one morning I went to the meditation center. I would go there at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. And
right.
he was in his car and he followed me. And he opened the door and he got there, and the guy that was there was like, oh, this is so unacceptable, because he walked in the door and we were all upstairs in the meditation room. And so, yeah, he was not impressed. And later on, he said, if I had known where you were going all this time, I would have stopped you. I said, why?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He said he would have stopped me from going because he wasn't comfortable with that. He called it a cult, which it can be a cult, but I'm not stupid. I'm all about balance. I take what I take and I leave the rest. And I don't feel the need to go into anything like as in any cult. I'm all about balance. And he never trusted that I had a mind of my own. Yeah, he used to always say, because me and my friends used to talk about stuff, and he used to say, you don't have a mind of your own. But that's kind of what do they do? Isolate. They like to
isolate. Isolation. Yes. That happened to me too. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're like, it's a thing. It's a tactic. It's a psychological abuse tactic where they say things like, you don't have a mind of your own. Those friends are not good for you. When you get, then he started to say, when you get a divorce, no one's going to be your friend anymore. He projected his own fears onto me because that happened to him, not me.
Right. That happens. Right. Exactly. That happened to him, not you. It's a projection. It's a reflection on himself.
Yeah. So there was a lot, but codependent no more, hashtag.
No more. We're going to hashtag no more codependency. Let's get rid of it and step into your power. Take your power back. Self-love.
It's just so liberating, honestly. It's just so liberating. I implemented the same things at work, with my family, with my friends. I don't care. I'm just living my best life. And if people love it, they love it. If they don't, they can see their way out. Like, don't hit yourself on the way out.
Right. Exactly. So how do you help clients who resist change even when they know their beliefs are holding them back. How do you coach them? What are the strategies that you have implemented in your coaching program to make women more aware of their limiting beliefs, shedding those limiting beliefs? So
if they don't really resist, the women don't resist, I find the men resist.
Oh, the men resist. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's right, because you coach women and men.
I coach women and men, and I find that the men are harder to coach.
Is it
men,
their ego? Is it because they feel they have to be like masculine, or what is that?
No, it's more about being in their logical mind. They're in their logical, they're wanting to take notes. I have some female clients that write, but the more heart-centered you are, the more right-brained you are, the faster my coaching works, right? Because I incorporate the kind of modalities that will require people to really just be. They don't have a lot to do. Yes, I give homework. Yes, I ask questions. Yes, we do the shadow work. Yes, they got to know things at the conscious logical level, but I also need them to be in this alternate like brain state so that they can incorporate the shift more immediately. And so if they do happen to resist, and some females have, they're like, oh, I love it when I resist. And then right away you call me out. Oh, I call them out. Let me tell you.
Oh, sure. I know you do. Because we actually met on TikTok last year. And we've become very good friends, remember? Yes, through another coach.
And you heard me say that to people?
Yes, I remember. And that resonates with me. So
yeah, I'll call them out and I'll say, listen, you gotta do you want to change or not? Like, you're resisting right now. And the other day I was meeting with a client and they were like, they wouldn't do something I asked them to do that was very simple. I created something very bite-sized for them because I knew that they're overwhelmed and they don't want to do a lot, but I need them to create the new pathways in their brain. So I give them things to do, but I was intentional about making it extremely simple. So I felt like when I was going to get on the call with them the next time that it was going to be done. Okay. It was so small. And then they were saying I couldn't because of this and this and this and this. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, that's just an excuse. So I didn't say that. But what I did was I asked them certain questions, I took their mind to a certain place and I let them visualize something. And I said, so what's coming up for you? And then they're like, excuses, excuses, excuses.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Because I wanted them to say it. And it came out.
Right. There you go. There you go. There you go. I love it. I love it. I love what you do, Nadia.
Thank you.
So I love what you do. So can you share a success story of a client who transformed their life by breaking through their blocks?
Yeah. So I'll share my very first client, my very first paid client.
Good.
Because I've been doing it all my life, right? But she was, and I'll share this one because it's breaking the silence, which is very relevant to your niche.
Good.
So this client was in a physically abusive relationship. And when she came to me, she was at her wit's end. Angeline, she was like, we broke up, but we went no contact. And I want to contact him. I love him. And I'm just like, I'm thinking this is a trauma bond. And this is just, the withdrawal that we feel when that roller coaster of emotions, right? Like the oxytocin and then the cortisol from the abuse and all that stuff and the no contact and then the highs and lows, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the cortisol. So I knew what I had to do with her. So 3 sessions, Angelina took 3 sessions and she was good.
Wow.
And she's literally now married to her best friend and they're traveling. Like I see her posts and she's just good.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Oh, that is so empowering.
Yeah. It doesn't have to take long, right?
It doesn't. No. I mean, I had a client, actually, we're meeting tonight on Zoom. She's from Australia and we had 4 sessions and she was like, Oh my God, what just happened?
I know. It's
Yeah.
wild. It's like, it's sometimes too good to be true, because when I
Right.
meet clients after 1 or 2 sessions and I feel their energy is so much more empowering,
Yeah.
I say, how are you doing? And they're like, actually, I'm really, really good.
Really good.
And it's not like it's sustainable change. It's not like it's that kind of shift that you have to like keep doing. It's like you get this sustainable shift.
Exactly. Well, yes, and that makes you feel great, empowered when you see a client making that huge shift in their life. Just literally. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, all right, actually, what I wanted to do was just some advice for women and men. So, because we're coming up to the top of the hour, how can someone start to rebuild their self-confidence after years of feeling stuck or powerless? Similar to what you went through for 15 years. So,
I would say, and that's a really good question, I would say start with living in the now. Start with no judgment. Don't want some, holy grail result, because that creates resistance and pressure. All you really need to do, it's so simple, is just be in the here and now. And how do you do that? Is by connecting to your breath, being in the present moment. That is my first thing, because that will give you everything that you need to know. Get off of your phone, go for a walk, sit with yourself. You'll gain insight that way. Speak to the universe, ask the universe questions, open your mind, be willing to unlearn everything you think you already know. That's awareness. The acceptance part is self-love, love yourself, self-care. The best thing you can do for self-care is set a boundary or say no, or just do things for yourself. It's not just the superficial baths and nails and facials and hair. That's great too. Treat yourself if you can. But I would say take little steps to love yourself. What would you do with a person that you loved? You would shoot the shit with them, speak to them, ask them what their thoughts are. What are they feeling? How is their day? Shoot the shit with yourself in a journal. You and I talk about it all the time. You get up, you meditate, you journal. We have our morning routine.
right. We have our morning routine, right?
And we do this for ourselves, and we do this for our clients, because the more good we are, the better we can help them.
Sure, absolutely.
So I would say journal, get to know yourself, and do things that you would do for other people. Think about the 5 love languages, words of affirmation. Speak nicely to yourself. Your friend, you would say, oh, it's not your fault. Don't beat yourself up. You didn't do that on purpose to that person or that thing. Talk to yourself like that. Why do you talk only to other people like that and beat yourself up? So self-talk, and then quality time, spend quality time with yourself. So go through those and do the things for yourself, and then take the action. The last part is that I would say is be intentional about setting boundaries and upsetting other people. And there's a book, I didn't read this book, but it's called The Courage to be Disliked. So
I love that book.
yeah, the cost of conformity. This is one of my favorite quotes. The cost of conformity is that everybody likes you but you. It's okay. People don't like me. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, me too. Not everyone likes me. In fact, I have haters.
Exactly. Who cares? If you haters, then you're doing the right thing.
I know. And if someone comes to me and says, well, I have haters now, you're doing the right thing.
You're doing the right thing.
You're doing something right.
Why do we attach so much shame to people not liking us?
Exactly.
Why do we have to attach so much shame to people not liking us?
Exactly. That is boggling, because there's, people feel ashamed. They're so worried about what other people think that they will just latch on to people. And then if they don't respond in a favorable way, then they get all upset.
Yeah.
So
So
this is like,
yeah. And this is what I do, right? Allow my clients to sit with that, sit with the shame, sit with the pain. What is coming up for you? Let's release that. I'm not going to give them coping mechanisms and say, try this for a week. No, let's get to the bottom of it.
There
Why
you go.
are you ashamed? Let's sit with that shame. What's coming up for you? I see my hair going over there.
There's a little blue tint to it too. Must be Cindy Lauper look or something.
Got my hair colored, and little did I realize.
I love it though, but see, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah. So yeah, it's about getting to the root.
Getting to the root. Okay. Wow, this is so empowering. Now, how do people get in contact with you?
Well, I have a free gift for everybody here if they want to go and do a quiz on my website, bravezone.ca. Braver, like as in bravery, but bravezone.ca. There we go. You have it up there. Thank you. Yeah. And okay, so you can do a quiz to discover why it is that you tolerate or attract these abusive relationships.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And the subconscious block quiz, take that. That's a free gift. And also people can reach you on Instagram then, correct?
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow, look at you. You're all so techy. I'm here like B-R-A.
You know what it is? This is learning. If you could have seen my first couple podcast episodes, I fumbled, but guess what? It was powerful. That's all that counts.
That's amazing. You know what song comes up for me now for you? I'm so fancy.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, geez, Nadia, you're amazing. You know, I love watching your journey. I love being on your Facebook, actually, Nadia, you're on TikTok too.
Yes, okay. TikTok is Self-Love Diva.
Okay. Let me just put that in. Okay. Self-Love Diva.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me put that there. I think I did it right. Self-Love Diva. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
TikTok. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure, Nadia. You provided so much insight, so much hope and motivation and empowerment, you know, for people to actually just get out of their own way, you know?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Getting out of your own way and just step into your true authentic self and be authentically you.
Exactly. That's really important, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So stay in the green room here for a few minutes. We're going to end the live right now. So everyone, please go ahead and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe at Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. And this podcast episode will be uploaded tomorrow on Spotify, and it'll go to all the live streams, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. We're now on Amazon Music, which is great. So we are growing and evolving. So on that note, I wish you all an amazing day. Bye.